Canon Films, the home of high-powered, high-voltage motion picture entertainment. With the screen's biggest spectacles, brightest stars, and boldest lineup of explosive entertainment. We're taking motion picture excitement over the edge and your box office over the top. We're Canon Films, and we're dynamite.
This presentation is brought to you by Liberty Medical, helping you to manage your diabetes and get the supplies and support you need so you can live a better life.
Actually, about diabetes and how it's affected me in my life. I'll start when I was first diagnosed. Diabetes. I was scared to death. I was experiencing symptoms that were strange and unfamiliar to me. For instance, I had an unquenchable thirst. I was losing my vision. I was losing my energy. I was getting up every 15 or 20 minutes all through the night. So I wasn't getting any rest. Diabetes. And as a result of all these things, I lost all my energy. Forget your troubles. Come on, get happy. Diabetes. I've done things I shouldn't do. Diabetes. Do the best you can with what you got. Diabetes. And I would encourage all of you. Diabetes. Forget your troubles. Come on, get happy. Diabetes. I've done things I shouldn't do. Diabetes. Do the best you can with what you got. Diabetes. Have a good day.
Academy Award winning Red Buttons.
Now, we talked about this last episode, but you were a little bit obsessed with seeing with Red Buttons, because once we started looking at Canon Films, this one stars Red Buttons. I'm so excited. And I thought we'd open your closet and there'd be Red Button posters, but that's not the case.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Red Buttons. As we probably discussed last episode, I just thought his name was funny. And then we discovered that he had
won an Academy
Award. And directly before making this film, Who Killed Mary Whats'ername, he actually was nominated for a Golden Globe for being in...
They Shoot Horses,
They Shoot Horses, Don't They? And then immediately after this film, he was in the Poseidon Adventure. So, actually, he's somebody.
Yes.
Right? He just has a funny name.
And, it's not his real name. Red Buttons is not his first given name.
He has red hair.
He does, and that's probably why he got that name. But once again, not his real name. They didn't see him and they were like, "You're as cute as a button and you have red hair." That's why we're calling you Red Button.
He is kind of cute, isn't he?
He is, and this brings up a good point, because what were you expecting going into this movie? Was the title Death of a Hooker?
So I guess I was kind of expecting something really grimy, where they just had Red Buttons show up for a few minutes, basically.
You mean at the beginning and he gets shot in the opening
he was
scene?
like, I just need the money, because for whatever reason, not having done any research into Red Buttons other than haha, his name is funny. I assumed that he was at the end of his career. He didn't really give a shit anymore. A lot of a lot of people are in Canon Films, basically. And that's not the case at all. He's the star of this movie. He gives it his all.
And it almost feels and we'll get into this more, a pilot for a TV show.
Yeah, it feels very much like that. It's as we said, going into a film called Death of a Hooker, you imagine something quite grimy, because it's about the murder of a prostitute. But I couldn't but feel that this was kind of a Sunday afternoon kind of Columbo type of thing.
That's exactly what it feels like, and that makes a lot of sense, seeing that it's rated PG. And you mentioned that you were worried that it was going to be grimy, and it's not really grimy, but it's definitely New York at that time that it was shot. It has that Death Wish feel.
Yeah, it has that sort of Joe feel as well, we said, where it's another one of those films where, because it was made cheaply and they didn't have a lot of leeway, they clearly just shot it when they had the chance, right? So it's got that very sort of kinetic kind of real New York is what you're actually seeing.
Zooms.
Yeah, kind of feel to it.
And it almost starts media res, as we would say. And by say, I mean our friend Peter Kaplowski once said that, and I was like, what does that mean? And he means, oh, that means there's no explanation at the beginning of whatever thing that you're enjoying. Where, like, the hooker dies, and then we're introduced to Red Buttons just coming out of the hospital. We don't know who he is.
Look, I just want you to take it easy.
You mean I gotta get wheeled out of this torture chamber? Too much to do. Can I get out of this now?
Hospital policy.
Della.
This is a door. My name's Longo.
And then he suddenly looks at a newspaper and decides, I'm going to solve a mystery. And spoiler, that's all the explanation that we get.
Yeah, it's. I actually thought this was like an amazingly sort of funny kind of beginning where he's like, I was in hospital for a while. I need to fill up my time now that I've got diabetes.
And they told him, you went into a diabetic coma, right?
Yeah.
And for someone who just learned that they have diabetes, he takes no care of it at all. He's not worried, because he got out of the hospital because he went into a diabetic coma. I think that's what they're alluding to, right? And that's all we get in the opening of the film. This dude named Red Buttons, he looks kind of cheruby, he has red hair, he was an ex-boxer, and now he wants to start solving mystery?
Who the hell are you? Huh?
I'm looking for a key to the next door apartment. How long's it been vacant?
Not long enough.
I understand it belonged to a working widow. You got the key?
Wait here.
I can dig it, man.
Yeah, I
I
mean that's what I'm saying. It totally feels like, diagnosis murder type of setup or something, where just an older gentleman that, people who watch television in the mid-afternoon will grow to enjoy, just goes around solving murders. But for some reason they just start with the grimiest, most realistic kind of New Yorky kind of feeling, a prostitute gets murdered and now he has to solve it because he just saw it in a newspaper.
And he just circled it. That feels like the opening of the TV show where he just opens up the newspaper and whatever thing he's like, people don't really care about this. And he actually in the movie circles it in red.
Yeah, so that's how the episode would start, right? You'd open the newspaper and you'd be like, coupons at the Safeway, and then the episode's of him going shopping.
So it doesn't even...
It's just whatever he opens the page to, that's what, he just tries to solve the mystery.
He's like, dog show down at the docks.
Yeah, he's like, so McDonald's' profits are down. And he goes to try and solve that.
There is a mystery in every episode. So it's kind of like a Kolchak the Night Stalker thing, where he goes on a boat and there's a werewolf, or there's always a mystery to be solved.
I think that's true of life. When you say there's always a mystery to be solved.
Like Murder, She Wrote, that people aren't just always dying around her.
Yeah.
So Red Buttons goes, and he just goes right away to the person's apartment building and starts asking questions.
He literally leaves the hospital, and he's like his daughter's because he has a daughter. She's like, hey, when you coming home? And he's like, I just went down to the East Village, right?
Yeah.
And I just rented an apartment. And she's like, what the fuck is going on? You just came out of a diabetic coma. And if an elderly relative of mine had just been in a diabetic coma, and when I called them, they were like, I've just rented an apartment in the scummiest part of town. I'd be like, they need some sugar in them. I need to go and rescue them. I don't know what they're doing.
That I wish that this show had started, and every episode ends with him going into a diabetic coma, and every episode begins with him coming out of it and going to solve a mystery.
Yeah, it's kind of like Quantum Leap, except diabetic comas.
Coma Cop. It's gonna be the name.
Coma Cop. I love it.
Even though he has no.
Wait. He could keep changing his identity, right?
Yes.
And he could call it Coma Chameleon.
Yeah. So he goes to a new city.
And then obviously the theme song, Coma, 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 Coma Chameleon. You come and go. You solve those crimes.
You're saying too much. You're gonna steal our.
Sorry.
We gotta keep this one under wraps.
Okay.
So we go to this building and starts asking questions, and we're introduced to all the red herrings that will appear in this movie.
Yeah, all the strange people that live in the neighborhood, right? So we have the crazy, huge afroed preacher man who lives next door to the prostitute who's murdered. We have a different prostitute who I think looked like Dolly Parton if she was played by Amy Sedaris.
I can give you that.
And when she appears, she's like with a Mexican guy, and she's like, "This ain't the United Nations. You gotta pay me in American dollars, no pesos."
This ain't the United Nations, you know. I want American dollars, no pesos. Comprende?
I mean, we can leave out the stuff about me marrying a hooker.
And I was like, "What is this? What is this movie?" Because at this point, I don't really know where this movie's going.
No, because we have no idea. Like, if you just turned it on, you'd be like, "What is he gonna go murder prostitutes?"
And
like, what Red Button looks like?
Yeah, we have no idea what Red Button's up to. He's like, I keep going into diabetic comas, waking up and there's dead prostitutes. That could be the case, also. But I mean, he meets all these wacky characters. So, for example, for some reason, he rents the apartment and then goes out up on the fire escape to check
into the apartment.
Yeah, to check the window or something.
Yeah.
And then the cop is like, "Hey, what are you doing up there?" And he goes, "I'm just measuring for curtains."
I'm measuring my window for curtains.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'm measuring your ass for my shoe."
My shoe. Now get down here now. Measuring your ass for my shoe. Now get down here now.
Did you hear what this man said to me? Now, I have witnesses. This man is physically threatening me.
After that, for example, Red Buttons is like, "I'm no killer, I'm a lover," and stuff like that. Like, it's very...
Yeah, okay, so Red Buttons goes down, then he goes to a bar, and he has a bite to eat, and then he gets in a fight with some bikers.
This part, I love this part.
You mean that the dose of realism that we're about to talk about?
It's sort of
bar
like
fight?
the prostitute, our Dolly Parton prostitute has gone in to get lunch. Some bikers come in and steal her lunch for some reason, and Mickey, who is Red Buttons, decides he's not into that. He starts a fight, and it has what I consider to be like the greatest reaction for going behind the counter. It just every like punch or movement goes to her, and she's like clasping her face, and she's screaming, and she's just super overreacting. Like she's so overacting that it's like did they give her drugs before this scene? Well, I don't understand. But the
You
best.
think that maybe they just put her to the side because she's like bawling. She's like,
yeah, and she's like, and then like when he picks up a chair, she's like, "Oh God, no!"
I think maybe they like took her child and were like killing it in front of her to get
Yeah,
that
it's
reaction.
like that
Maybe
reaction
that's
had to be the most like the best thing as well is like sometimes it cuts to this woman going, "Oh no, oh my God," and sometimes it cuts to a cat who's just watching it dispassionately. It was like
they needed those cutaways.
It was like they're like, this woman is taking it too far. We got to step back a bit. What's the most unimpressed thing we can imagine? A cat. A cat will also be watching.
It'll even itself out.
It'll even out. They didn't think we'll remove some of those shots. They were like, just add more shots of a cat.
And then Red Buttons does a little bit of unimpressive boxing. Not much happens. Doesn't really get any that. Then
Yeah,
he hits him.
and the other thing I'd like to know is that he doesn't refer to the fact he has diabetes. He constantly refers to the fact he has diabetes, which I just love.
The Will from Brimley version.
Yeah, he's like, I got the diabetes, and I'm like, I love this. I love it so good.
Excuse me, miss.
And it gets better after this fight because he goes back to the bar or something, and he just meets a random dude who's hitting on I think he goes to a different area of town.
Yes.
Bumps into a random guy.
An insurance salesman, I believe.
Who's like just hitting on women in sort of a creepy way. And who is this guy? It's the dad from Different Strokes. That's who it is, Conrad Bain. Now, if you grew up with Different Strokes as I did,
I've never seen an episode of Different Strokes.
Oh my God, you've never seen Different Strokes?
Nope.
Well,
Talk to me as if I had.
I guess the world don't move to the beat of just one drum.
I'm assuming that's in the theme song.
Well, it might be right for me, may not be right for you, Justin. That's actually how the song goes. It says might not be right for you, Justin. But yeah, Different Strokes. Conrad Bain is a rich old dude. I can't believe I'm explaining Different Strokes.
I know what the plot of Different Strokes is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, what are you from the moon?
So he meets this guy. He's drunk, and they become best friends.
Yeah, for no reason.
Nope.
For no reason.
Geez, you look familiar. Hey, have another one on me. Eddie!
No, thanks. Doctor wants me to take it easy. Diabetes.
Well, that's one problem I haven't got. But I got plenty of others I could tell you about.
You don't score until you score. Until you score. That's right, baby!
And behind every problem is a broad.
something about the springtime that's just cool, you know? Like the smell of fresh rain or something. Suck me, beautiful.
What did you just say?
Suck me, beautiful. Friends call me Nova. As in, Casanova.
That's pathetic.
So Red Buttons also goes home and meets his daughter, and she's like, oh, I'm coming with you. So it's kind of a bit like Red Buttons forms his team.
Yeah,
right?
he does, because he has his daughter, he has this drunken insurance salesman.
And then he finds a filmmaker guy who's making films about prostitutes. So he has a squad. He has his Avengers, if you know what I mean.
And the filmmaker guy being played by a very young Sam Waterston of Law and Order fame.
Who looks really young, and I mean, because he is young, right? But it's just like when you think of that guy, he just
an old guy.
He's an old guy, right?
No, Sam Waterston.
No, that's me. That's me.
No, Sam Waterston. Crime misdemeanor, Capricorn 1.
She doesn't know hello, but she knows Capricorn 1.
Yeah, so because he's the filmmaker, he's been hanging around with Mary. He's seen a lot of stuff that's going on. He's got lots of footage.
Maybe
and
he's filmed something.
Yeah,
like murder.
like literally, like the first thing we see him do when he is like take one of his film canisters, write M on it, and then hide it. And you're like, all right, so he did it, I guess, or he's very clearly red-handed. I couldn't tell. I gotta be honest. You said it was obvious it wasn't him.
Yes.
But I personally, I guess I'm a dum-dum, was just like, I can't tell. This movie maybe is just this stupid, and it's just so he did it, you know? Like,
I mean, this is the way that you have to watch these kind of movies, is you look at characters that have either appeared or are reoccurring, and ask yourself the question, why are they here? And if you can find no answer for that, then they're probably the murderer most of the time.
Okay. Yeah, but the lesson of all the canon films we've watched so far has been like most characters have no reason for being there.
That's true. Like it's like watching a Joe Sarno film and being like, "Who's the murderer?"
So you'd be like, yeah, what's the point of this? Like, there's so we had the footage. There's a bunch of segments where they do the whole Blade Runner thing, where they just keep like looking at parts of footage over again. And Red Buttons is like enhance 180 degrees.
Red Buttons never says that.
He never says enhance. It's true.
And they actually, most of the movie is them following false lead.
The police sent her back all chewed up. I shot her the night she was killed. Why were you taking pics of her? I mean, why not any whore? That's what she was. I like things to be real.
But I think our guy's a little different.
How so?
I think killing's not his ulterior motive. This guy's a collector.
That Mary?
Yeah, watch this. That was the first trick of the night. I don't know why, she just wasn't hustling.
She said she's not a whore anymore, but she likes that part of herself, along with all the other parts of herself.
Was this the same night?
Yeah.
2 o'clock, huh? Well, I guess that clears the guy in a plaid jacket.
Holmes, you alive? Hello. What is that? What is that smile? What smile? That stupid smile. What is it with you today? Huh? You're imagining things. Oh, I'm imagining things. That's right. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Some detective I am.
Hold it. This is the same guy we saw before.
Yeah.
That is some detective work. And you were close, real close, but not quite.
That's the last good shot of her.
What time was this taken?
About 11:30. I remember looking at my watch before I shot her. This was about a half an hour later.
That was some detective work back there. You're, regular Miss Marple.
Malthus. How can you tell it was a half hour later?
I remember. We're going to need a hell of a lot more than that. But there's no way to prove it if that's what you mean. Look, if the police didn't keep it, it's probably worthless.
That's just what we need.
Yeah, so they find the last, from that footage, they find the last guy that they think that Mary was with. They somehow manage to scam him into meeting them in a bar.
Well, you better, Captain, because see, I'm a minor, and that makes it statutory rape. I mean, what would the boys at the office think about that, Roger Dodger?
Oh, screw off.
Call me at Enright 93090. Daddy wants to meet you. I think he was perturbed.
That creepy guy? Morgan, the pedophile?
That is.
Oh
my gosh.
Yes. Come on, I didn't know that. He seemed okay. We had dinner together.
What kind of a whorehouse is this? Every time I call, the pimp is out.
Yeah, well, we can talk about whores all you want to. We can even include the police and the newspapers in on the conversation. You'll be at Larry's bar tomorrow morning at 11. I don't have to tell you where that is, do I, Bolting?
What are you, pedophile? I put an alarm on this house to keep monsters out, when, shockingly, the true monster was right in front of my face the entire time.
Nothing happens because he gives them no information.
He gives them no information. He sort of yells, I think this is the character who yells, "How did I kill this whore? With nuclear weapons?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, that seems unlikely. Red Buttons would be like, that's just not plausible. I mean, there's no fallout.
Yeah.
Most of New York is still here.
That's impossible. Besides, I attract younger women.
Do call me if you hit puberty.
Nice. Nice, guys.
How did you know she was an older woman?
Will you get off my back? Just send me a bill for the girl.
You knew her, Bolting. And you went to her apartment with her about the time she was killed there.
Okay. Tell me, how did I kill this whore? Nuclear weapons, nerve gas, huh? Gatling gun?
Do you mind if the police saw the film? You're not worth hitting. I'd hate to hit you, Bolting.
Why don't you put on one of these t-shirts? It'll get you in the mood. I stayed up all night last night making these.
You stayed up all night the night before and all night telethons.
Yes, and here's why. Boom.
Diabetes. Let's diabeat this.
Yeah. 4 hours to come up with the slogan, 4 hours to embroider them.
Time well spent.
Come on, Della.
Hey, fella, you want another drink? Or should I call a doctor?
A whole other plot shows up that's never really resolved, where there's these old biddies just always watching around in the apartment.
Yeah, that's another thing. There's kind of a weird thing where there's a lot of bird style, just old women just like watching.
Yeah.
I mean, old women standing out for birds here, and which ultimately ends in.
But that leads from the fact that the hooker who got murdered, she has a daughter.
True.
And they're looking for the daughter for, I don't know why, like they don't think they're gonna get an answer from that.
Well, yeah, they're looking for the daughter because she's hanging out with the bakers from earlier.
You took a man to your mother's apartment the night she was killed, didn't you?
No, I had him wait downstairs in the hallway.
They beat your mother too, didn't they? Didn't they?
Yes. Whitey told me all about it when I picked up Bolting.
When you took him to your mother's apartment, was she dead? You killed her.
No, she was already dead.
How did you know?
I had the key. I saw her lying there bloody.
Jesus, Tarl, how would you like if someone talked about your mother like that?
Why would you take Bolting to your mother's apartment?
Maybe I wanted to see if she was all right.
You are talking about the nonsensical ravings of a lunatic mind. Dead is dead.
You just left her?
I was afraid. I didn't want to be blamed.
What time did you see her dead?
Around 2:30. Who cares?
If my mother was out chasing guys half her age or 2/3 her age, she'd deserve it.
There's also a side plot that's really, really pointless where they go all the way out of town to like an old folks home to see another guy who was sleeping with Mary. Remember?
Yes, I remember that.
They come back, that's not that important.
Client.
Well, any one of them could have done it.
I still like Malthus.
He's a contender, but I need more on him.
I guess we know where to find him.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't be trusted with money.
Women, eh?
Just once in a while. Click, click. Click, click? Yeah. Click, click. You know, once a week I'd...
Sorry, he has to rest now. We're having a little party tonight.
See if you can pick up a fifth to liven up things later. I gotta find out what the hell click, click means.
Still, you know, sometimes I feel like time is just going like click, click, click.
We're getting old, man.
There was this gal, Mary, once a week. I had a key. And she wanted it back. She said she was in love.
You still have the key, Leo?
Damn right.
What took you so long?
There isn't a store within miles of this place.
I hope you brought enough for everybody.
Did he say why?
Christine claims Mary told her she finally found a guy.
What was his name?
She didn't remember. But I hope it comes to her soon.
What is this, amateur hour?
But
they
yeah,
go see a movie, a W.C. Fields film, and then the filmmaker burns all his film.
well, we don't know.
We don't know that
for sure that he did because he never resolved that in the end.
Why would he? If it was him, and they kind of set it up because he's like, oh, he left during the movie to do something. Why would he burn his film? Why wouldn't he just be like, I don't have that footage, or just hide it somewhere else, like not in his apartment, just not show it to them, like.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting kind of turned around in circles here. We're not really, because they just go down a lot of path. They go to where the bikers hang out. They try and talk to the daughter, and what happens instead is Red Buttons has a fight on a roof with the biker, which involves the biker picking him up and spinning him around.
I forgot about that. Red Buttons is not a good fighter, even though he's a boxer in this movie.
Yeah,
he's continually losing.
Oh, wait a minute. The giant swing. I haven't seen one of these in years. That's since John, Bob, and Andre.
Never again. No more detective games.
What took you so long after you blew the horn?
We had to go 10 blocks to find a cop.
But you drink enough, and if you drink a lot, they get you fucked up.
And he finds a crazy religious cult that are trying to kill hookers.
Yeah, so Afro neighbor from earlier.
Yes.
He's running a sort of a scam with the old ladies where he beats up prostitutes in front of old ladies.
I don't think it's a scam. I think it feels more like they feel passionate about that. Like throwing religious dogma as they're like holding a knife to their throat. Don't worry, guys. This has nothing to do with the movie.
But then later on, there's a guy. He's like in a bar or something, and someone runs in. There's like, oh, the old lady's got another one.
Which is weird because it makes it sound like these old ladies are like mob justice in the middle of the day, and because they catch a hooker and they chase her down, and they're like ah. Even though we see hookers on the street all the time in this movie.
Yeah, so it's kind of like. Are we supposed to think the old ladies may have done it?
Wait a minute. Too many old prunes in this picture.
Red Buttons is very compelling.
True that only pansies wear those clown suits?
I mean, Conrad Bain is Conrad Bain. It's the dad from Different Strokes. Why would you ever not trust him? This may come up later, actually.
Mickey Isidore. By Christ, what I say, I never forget a face, I never forget a face. Weren't you the bantamweight champion in 48?
49.
Yeah. What a hell of a fight it was you had with Patty O'Rourke. I'll never forget the right you gave him in the 10th round.
How about that left he tagged me with in the 9th, huh?
It's a real pleasure knowing you, Mickey. You got real class.
Oh, thanks, pal.
Hand was always out, but it wasn't just because he was greedy. Perhaps no one had ever told him you can't buy friends, because he never stopped trying.
The guy from Law and Order.
Tried to even seen this reel himself. The police sent it back all chewed up. I shot it the night she was killed.
Why were you taking pics of her? I mean, why not any whore?
That's what she was. I like things to be real.
The daughter is pleasant. The whole thing is
the daughter is given a lot to do, even though she has no reason to be there.
Hi, can I talk to you for a minute?
Why?
Oh, well...
You interfered with a well-laid plan.
I would say, though, is it's another one of those films, I feel like there's a lot of films from the 70s, noticeable like this, where the soundtrack has no relation to anything you're watching. It's just music starts playing and stopping.
Like jazz music
No,
playing through? Yeah.
Doesn't matter what's going on screen. It's just like somebody was like, just put some music on this to make scenes work. And they were
Just
like,
a needle drop.
I have no idea how to do a soundtrack. So.
Yeah.
We always have to listen to this elevator music.
The Red Button befriends another.
Oh, that's true.
Prostitute.
I completely forgot about her. She's not.
She doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
She kind of shows up. She does a bunch of quips. At one point, she gets scared and she goes and sees Red Buttons, and then she dies. She gets killed.
She's found dead in Red Buttons' apartment. She's been Mary's apartment.
Remember, don't think.
Okay. I remember. The guy with the black horn-rimmed glasses. He's a real loudmouth creep. You know, he was after all of us girls at one point or another. He calls himself Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Marbles?
Marbles! You have no marbles!
What else?
Well, he always brags about how rich and important he is, you know. Oh, yeah. He got real peeved because Solomon the cop had the nerve to put a parking ticket on his Imperial. Oh, it really frosted him.
Ticket?
His pants were down when he turned towards me and I saw it.
His penis?
It's been like that all night.
My feelings. My feelings exactly.
And that's at the point where he works out a plan, which is probably the most important thing, which is to tell everybody that she survived, so that whoever had done it, because he's sure that someone he's talking to has done it, will then go and try and redo it.
The door to Mary's room was closed, locked when the police found it, right?
Right. You slam the door and it locks.
I know who slammed it.
Is that what you're telling me?
I found a piece of film here. It's Mary's body.
Della, lock the door and stay put. Don't let Alex in.
Well, I wasn't able to reach him.
I told him about Christine myself. I'm going to her apartment now. Whoever shows up at that apartment is our man.
I wonder who that could be.
In the process of doing this, he forgets to eat a candy bar or do whatever it is that...
I don't know diabetes that well. I'm sure I'll have it one day. But, like, is it just like I need candy? Because he's
Well,
like...
I mean, like, nowadays...
Yes.
You take an injection, right?
Yeah.
You just carry...
Well, I mean, he has injections, but, like, at one point his daughter's like, you're forgetting your needles on the floor.
Yeah, you just
of the car."
can't be asked to do it. I mean, and I always assumed that, like, sugar in that way was like a total last resort. You got to use insulin. You know, that's what keeps you together, because sugar doesn't get processed. But basically, he doesn't give a shit about his diabetes.
Yeah. So he puts this plan into effect, and as it's going into, he's like, oh shit, I need some sugar.
And for some reason, even though he's like in the middle of New York, he cannot find any sugar. I don't know how it's possible.
They make a joke where he puts money in a candy machine and he shakes it, and then later on another character goes and turns the thing
and gets candy from a different machine.
Yeah.
Like if you only gone to that machine instead.
He's so sweet and helpless without you.
Like he returns to Christine, who's the second murder prostitute's apartment, and he's like, she's running out of sugar. But the funny thing is, and this is my modern eyes watching it, there's a big box of cornflakes next to it.
Yeah.
Now, if you know, cornflakes are fucking full of sugar. Like, even though they don't taste sweet at all, they're like mostly sugar. I was like, eat those fucking cornflakes, Red. Eat the cornflakes. But no, what he does instead, for no clear reason, is sit in a chair and wait to die. And I don't know why he does this.
And let's give us the big hint of this movie of who the killer is. If someone says when they go see that old guy in the senior home that loves prostitutes, and he's like 92 years old. Good for him. He says, oh, Mary had someone that she thought she was going to move away with.
Yeah.
Like a man. I wonder who this could be in this cast of characters. Maybe the person that's been tagging along the entire time and has no reason to keep going?
Well,
it'd be amazing if it was Red Buttons and that was the end of the movie.
Yeah, I assumed, because I'm a dum-dum, that it was the filmmaker still. So, and I mean, this is based on the fact that who would ever imagine that the dad of Arnold would ever murder a prostitute? I would never imagine this.
And this seems like a big reveal that the insurance salesman, who has nothing to do with anything and has been tagging along with him the entire time, is the murderer. And Red Buttons is directly the cause for the other prostitute being killed.
That's true.
Because he told the guy, oh, you know, Mary had someone else, we don't know what his name is, but she knows who it is. And he's like, okay. So maybe that's why this has one of the most baffling endings I've seen in years, maybe? Only because of all the movie that's come before it. So as Matthew said, Red Buttons sits in a chair.
He waits to die, and then Conrad Bain walks in and goes, I did it because she was going to hit my wife. smell you later. And then he just leaves.
And I assume that Red Buttons just dies?
No, because the daughter comes upstairs.
You don't hear anything.
She runs upstairs, she's like, you'll be okay, Dad. Because she's got insulin on her, probably.
I assume this is like final like death rattles, like you just.
But as I say, next episode he wakes up from the coma, and then the daughter's there, and she's like, "There's like they got Conrad Bain, you know?" No, she doesn't. She said what she says is
he's a big bad.
No, she says they were gonna get him for the prostitute murder, but he got away in a plea bargain. He promised he would take 2 black boys from the slum to live in his penthouse, and they would not do him for the prostitute
So Death
murder.
of a Hooker.
It's the prequel.
2 different strokes.
2 different strokes. Well, actually, that might not be true. Because the most interesting thing is that Red Buttons starred in another film with Conrad Bain shortly after this one. Do you know what that film is, Justin?
Yes, I do. It's called Chomps. And what does that stand for?
Chomps stands for Canine Home Protection System. It stars a young inventor who invents a robot dog. And they're both in it.
And we haven't seen it, so we assume they play the same characters.
Yeah, they definitely play the same characters. See, Conrad Bain is this guy's boss who he constantly argues with.
Okay.
So, therefore, evil Conrad Bain hasn't yet seen the fault of his ways, you know? He's been murdering prostitutes, now he's anti-robot dog. I mean, that's as bad as it gets. The only way that you could get, into heaven, let's say, is by adopting 2 adorable black boys from the slums of New York.
So wait, so it goes Death of a Hooker, Chomps, and then different strokes.
Different strokes. That makes perfect sense.
So that's probably the biggest strike against Death of a Hooker, is that the ending is so goddamn underwhelming.
Yeah.
They just ran out of money, it feels like. Because it doesn't end.
Yeah,
they
were just like,
Yeah.
That's it, the end.
Yeah.
He
sits in a chair.
I think it's because they didn't have any real tension, right?
But he could have fought him, he could have done something, it's weird there's not even a fist fight, or maybe they fight and then his daughter comes and saves the day, or just anything.
Yeah.
This is nothing.
Yeah, as I say, they were stuck into the coma chameleon framing. Had to start with a coma, end with a coma. So they're like, this is how it has to go.
Yeah, okay, you're right, because this was their pilot, and the movie actually ends with just the credits over footage of them, in the movie, like a TV show.
Yeah,
or an opening of a TV show.
But it should end like the end of Transformers the movie, with the stars. I'd be like, don't worry, Mickey will return. You know?
Yeah. Well, so it should end with
I mean, obviously that was, of course, I will admit, some people will be saying that's not how Transformers movie ends, because as we know, the original Transformers movie just ended. But if you saw it in the UK, as I did, they'd already added this thing to make sure that you weren't too upset about it.
Oh, you're talking about Transformers, the animated movie.
The animated movie, yeah.
Okay.
Because Optimus Prime dies, but then they were thinking, kids are going to be freaking out about that, so we'll have to make sure attack on this wee bit that tells you he's coming back. So
just
if you're
what is the name of the main G.I. Joe? Duke. He's like, Duke's out of his coma at the end of G.I. Joe the movie.
Yeah, it's done slightly better than Transformers movie, I think.
I'm sorry. We get into this discussion because Matthew thinks that Transformers the movie is better than G.I. Joe the movie.
Anyway, point being is that if you were a child watching Death of a Hooker, you'd be like, oh no, Mickey, so they should have the tacked on bit where it's like, don't worry, Mickey will return in Coma Chameleon.
The series.
The series.
Executive produced by Justin DeClue and Matthew Kumar.
Yeah, well, Red Buttons is long dead, so we can't make it.
Hey, the magic of CGI. If they can make a young Jeff Bridges, they can make a young Red Buttons.
Yeah, if they can make the shittiest looking young Arnold Schwarzenegger for that shitty looking new Transformers Terminator movie, then we can definitely have an amazing CGI Red Buttons fighting the amazing CGI Arnold. Who will win? And then there's a woman in the background. Oh my god, no.
All right, does this make it in the canon, Matthew?
It's pleasant, but I don't think it
I would almost say that it's the second most enjoyable film we watch. I wouldn't put it in the canon though, because it doesn't have anything that really makes it pop.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's got that sort of Joe thing, as we said, by being kind of
gritty and
try to show realistic stuff. But this doesn't kind of a more still even at that a more stagey kind of TV movie kind of way where I don't know, like, as I said, if I watched it on a Sunday afternoon, I wouldn't feel like I wasted the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I would kind of, but it's a Sunday afternoon, who gives a shit? But it's nothing we can really recommend to watch. It's just, if you're tied up and somebody says you've got two options, watch the new Terminator movie or watch Who Killed Mary Whats'ername, you'd go, I'll watch Who Killed Mary Whats'ername.
Oh, my name's Justin the Clue.
I was Matthew Kumar.
Thanks for listening.